I'm John Kosar, Chief Market Strategist at Asbury Research. Thanks for listening to our latest Following the Money podcast. Today is November 5th, 2023. Today, I'll be talking about what our latest analysis and data-driven models are saying about current financial market conditions. That is, when to be on offense and looking for opportunities, and when to be on defense and protecting your capital. Now, let's follow the money. First, let's talk about U.S. interest rates. In our previous October 22nd Follow the Money podcast, I pointed out that the benchmark U.S. 10-year Treasury note was closing in on a test of major yield resistance at 5% to 5.23% and said that this level was unlikely to be broken without at least a significant downward reversal first. I also said that a strong downward reversal in yields would likely be a big shot in the arm for the U.S. stock market. U.S. 10-year yields peaked at 5% at October 23rd and have since declined back to 4.48%, which is just a little bit over 50 basis points. Meanwhile, as expected, the S&P 500 bottomed a few days later on October the 27th and have since rebounded by 7% into this past Friday's close. How these yields move from here is likely to continue having a direct and inverse effect on U.S. equity prices. Now let's move to seasonality, which is a really big deal here towards the end of the year. November is the seasonally strongest month of the year in the S&P 500 based on data since 1957. In addition, the first, second, and final weeks of November are the three seasonally strongest weeks of the entire fourth quarter based on these same data going back to 1957. Now let's move to semiconductors. Semiconductors are always kind of high on our list because they're so influential to broad market equity prices. We are watching what might be an emerging bullish breakout in the SOX index, the Philex Semiconductor Index, which along with technology tends to lead the U.S. broad market both higher and lower. We will be watching semis very closely next week in our premium research. Now let's move to sector rotation. Our SEAF model, which stands for Sector ETF Asset Flows, is currently overweight technology. Technology, ticker XLK, is currently the top-ranked sector in the SEAF model based on positive investor asset flows in multiple time periods. As long as these assets keep flowing into technology, it is likely to continue outperforming the broad market and likely will lead it higher. SEAF is a model that we have been using for years. It's outperformed the S&P in 10 of the past 13 quarters, and it's done it with about the same risk as the S&P 500. So it's, for our firm, it answers the question, where should I be invested? Next, I was interviewed by Jim Poplava of the Popular Financial Sense website on Wednesday, October 31st. Actually, I was talking about an emerging stock market bottom, and I went into some detail there as to why I thought that would happen. You can listen to that interview by visiting financialsense.com. Finally, I will be the featured guest on the next Investing with IBD podcast this Wednesday, November the 8th. I expect that the interview will be posted on the Investors Business Daily website probably within about a day of the interview. I will be talking about market direction through the end of the year, the best sectors to be in, and we'll also be talking about the latest signals on our Asbury 6 tactical risk management model. So there it is, our latest bi-weekly Following the Money podcast for today, and a short synopsis of what we think is particularly important to pay attention to as we move into the end of the year. We'll see you again right here in about 2 weeks with our next Follow the Money podcast. In the meantime, make sure you subscribe to the Asbury Research channel on YouTube for more podcasts and data-driven trading and investment information just like this. If you're interested in getting more information about our services for individual and professional investors, please visit asburyresearch.com and use the Contact tab. Now we will close with the legal stuff. This podcast is provided for information purposes only and is not intended to be a solicitation to buy or sell securities. The performance indicated from backtesting or historical track record may not be typical of future performance. No inferences may be made and no guarantees of profitability are being stated by Asbury Research, LLC. The risk of loss of trading and financial assets can be substantial. Therefore, you should carefully consider whether such trading is suitable for you in light of your financial condition.